Stephen Curry is something you've never seen before. And I mean, really something you've never seen before in the NBA, basketball in itself. And he has had an impact not only on the court in the NBA, but in the culture of basketball. And he's changed a lot of different things. And I honestly am making this video because he's also changed me in a way that I humbly have to say props to him, because I, like this video will explain, most of us have him underrated. And I know that might sound crazy because he's one of the most popular and considered the greatest shooter and an amazing player. But the truth is, I didn't realize how great he was. And I'll explain more on where exactly did it all change, because he did change it. But I wanted to show you highlights of his past and talk about his beginning, because I believe it's very relevant to the main point of this video. He started off a very small kid who basically is David versus Goliath when it comes to trying to play basketball, because basketball is a game about height, having the advantage in strength. Those are some of the two main ways to play basketball. Curry came in humbly. As I said, his career is so humble that it's insane. And I'll explain more of that later, but starting off in his church, in his very, very low level 3-star recruit. And this is my opinion, and you guys can get mad that that's where he started, but that's what he started at. And the point behind bringing that up is that he really has been underrated in every way. He didn't start in the best scenarios. And of course, he wasn't really scouted the way a #1 draft pick would be, even though his father was in the NBA. And he worked for that as a young man who's very, very small. And he had his ankle injuries as well in the NBA, which we'll talk about in a minute. But that is key note to kind of think about, because I think the theme of his career, which is basically swimming upriver, David versus Goliath, if you don't know what that is, it's a story about a young boy fighting a giant. And I felt like his whole career, that's what we've seen. And it's a powerful thing. And I take that story of David versus Goliath very serious on a growth for me, inspirational and lesson wise. And to tell the story very quickly, a young boy was, since he was little, trained to protect the sheep at all costs. And it seems like a simple job, just watching after sheep, and it could be boring. But little do you know, the storyline goes that they were going to get invaded by some enemies, and the enemy had a giant. And nobody in the kingdom wanted to fight against that giant. It was going to be the best versus the best. And then David came, and he volunteered, said, I'll do it. And he ended up taking off all the armor that they were trying to put on him. He said, I just need a shield. And he went out there and he used his slingshot, hit the giant right between the eyes, and knocked the giant out. The reason the story is important is because David was training. People didn't know, while you watch the sheep, you have to fend off bears, wolves, and so much more. And he got really good with that slingshot. He trained his whole life for it. Little did everyone know. And I think that Curry's an example of that. Hard work. And he made it into the Warriors. And what was amazing to me was that these Warriors didn't get the love that they deserved. Okay. First of all, they were a rebuild team. They were pretty rough coming in. And he ends up getting and growing of course, with Klay Thompson, and then they got Draymond Green. And the truth was, when they won that first championship, it was not only not expected, it was probably an underrated championship because like those guys are just drafted together. It wasn't like they put a super team together or anything like that. And to be honest, no disrespect to Draymond Green, he is not a superstar. He's never going to be one. Probably going to retire in a couple years, and he's always just going to be that role player. And he's great, like a super role player, but he's never going to be in that superstar role. He just doesn't have the scoring the way we would want. Defensively, he's one of the best in the league, in my opinion. But then you have Klay, who grew into becoming a hard-working defensive player, and his shot became something special. But the truth is, them winning that first championship with that team that wasn't exactly, oh my God, this is insane, was so special. And if you went back and you looked at the roster and you think, damn, that was a great championship. And then you look at the next year where they went off on this insane record and they lost only because Draymond Green was pretty much idiotic and got kicked out of the game and also suspended. They would have never lost. They would have had an extra ring. And then top that off, Durant comes. And then they win 2 more. Now, I want to stop right there because LeBron James is amazing. We love him. He's one of the greatest ever. But the truth is, LeBron in Miami had like 7 to 8 Hall of Famers on his team, superstar players in their prime. You know, you couldn't compare the Golden State bench players to that. Golden State had Klay, Draymond, Iguodala, Iguodala was the only proven star, you know, during that time in that beginning run. And the truth is, they still came out and won 2 more. So you can compare Curry's 2 with Durant, with LeBron having Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade and all of the other superstars that they had on their team. And so for me, the idea that Curry, and I am one of these, and this is a part of why this video is going to be here, is I'm one of those people who dismissed his championships and dismissed him because I felt like the Durant thing was insane. But now that I look at it, and I have a lot more to say, guys, but now it's a revelation that I say, wow, wait a minute. We underappreciate this goated player greater than 99% of all the league ever. And I'm completely changed, and I'll explain why in a second, but that was crazy. He ends up winning another championship, okay, with a rundown Klay and a rundown Draymond. They weren't at their primes. And I just love it. And no Durant, by the way. And that one also went underrated. It wasn't like he had a superstar team. And to me, I still dismissed him, guys. So when I'm making this video, I'm like just basically apologizing to Stephen Curry for dismissing him all these years. I love basketball. I love a great player. I don't care who they are. I am a Knicks fan. I go with Knicks first, but at the end of the day, basketball is basketball. And somehow this man still wins. He has 4 championships, okay? And to be honest, the conversation about his first MVP not getting that could have easily went his way, but somebody guarding LeBron, they gave it to Iguodala for his defense. They didn't give it to him for his amazing scoring or everything. You know, Curry sat in the 4th quarter on a lot of games in his career because he'll get a big lead and have 24, 25 points a game, and then he'll sit for the 4th quarter. And that humbleness is insane. Most of these superstars will stat stuff and they'll stay out there and they'll get their little 30 points and they'll get their triple doubles or whatever, Westbrook type of things. And it's okay. All of them do it. LeBron does it. I mean, all these new players are doing it. Make sure they hit their stats. Plus, the contract obligates you to do certain things in the NBA. But Curry humbly sat, all while showcasing he is the greatest shooter. And he's one of the greatest off ball players I've ever seen. And I actually think basketball is an art. And I see the poetry that is so beautiful when he's off ball. He's more dangerous. He creates space. I don't know if you guys are old enough to know, Shaquille O'Neal when he used to be in the post. He used to create open threes. He used to create opportunities. From being that type of a beast, Curry is the same as Shaquille, but without the ball. Just running around, he creates this vacuum of like, oh no, don't let him get the ball. And it's pretty much the same exact system as Shaq. The same impact is what I mean to say. And all of this, I finally came to, and I woke up to the fact that I slacked off and really gave him, BS for example, going down 3-1 and having blowing that, and then getting Durant right after. Those are things that I honestly felt like, come on, man. And I dismissed them. But they really never had this amount of impact in me. For the first time, it finally made sense. And I just want to talk about the moment that it made sense for me and how it all really came to be. And so here we go. Let's go ahead and dive into it. We're looking at the Olympics games. And as I watched these games, I got inspired. Love great players. And it was just something with Curry that started to click for me. Someone who dismissed him, who had him underrated, it all started making sense when I watched him play. And how humbly he still made the team better. And of course, he made amazing plays, but just little off-ball things and just his impact was crazy. And you're looking at probably one of the most iconic shots in all of basketball, definitely in the Olympics. And I just, wow. Maybe I have recency bias, but it was insane. I want to take a moment just to let y'all see this right here. Understand. Curry is like half the size of Wemby here. Okay? He literally is half the size. When Wemby puts his hand up, he pretty much overshadows. So just look at that and think about insane, amazing thing to see. And this, in this game specifically, the golden medal. When they got the gold, I honestly said, you know what, Curry? I'm going to make a video and confess I had you underrated, treated you unkind, and you are one of the greatest. I had him in my top 10, but now I believe he's going into my top 5. I just put him over Magic. It hurts to say that I put him over Magic, easily top 5, and I can argue, which I'm not going to do today because we're going to all fight in the comments. I can argue that he is on par or even above LeBron James. And I honestly can make a big case about it, which we'll do another video. If you guys are interested, make sure you leave a like and comment about doing the video and breaking that down. I kind of said what I had to say about his career, more or less, in a quick summary. But in the end of the day, I'm telling you, this guy is one of the greatest that you'll ever see in your life. And he's so humble. And it's like a David versus Goliath. In the Olympics, it was when it all clicked for me, seeing Wemby trying to block his shot. And it made me realize he's been fighting uphill like this all his life. And he's been humble, protecting the sheep, aka making his teams better, off ball. And when he's on ball, it's magic. But I'm inspired. I humbled because this is not something I would ever say. I barely had him in the top 10. And the Olympics happened, and I woke up and said, damn, bro, what are you doing? Why are you hating on this guy? What is wrong with you? Do you not love basketball the way you say you do? And I finally feel humbled to admit it. And even, if they would have never got suspended, which I don't like the would but that would have been 5 rings. I mean, it would have been crazy. Who knows what could have happened? If Draymond would have never went crazy to Durant also, that would have been another ring or two. Durant might have stayed. And that's what's insane. Honestly, guys, if he wins more, I mean, he's in the GOAT conversation. He's already there for me. And so I'm curious what your thoughts are. Just wanted to share that and give y'all my real feelings. Hope y'all enjoyed. Go into the comments and share your thoughts. I'll see y'all there.